Okay.
So just a heads up about that. I think that's all I have. Chief's report?
Don't have a lot. I've been trying to get Squad 1-3 up to get the recalls taken care of, and I really don't want to take it to Centralia, so I've been trying to get it into the Dalles to the GM dealer up there, and cannot get a response. So it might be something that carries over into next year. I don't know whether they're on Christmas break at Bob or whatever is it Hammer Motors, but I can't get him to call me back or anything. So I've been trying to get that taken care of. I'll be turning in the command vehicle next week and be done at the end of the year. So just so you're all aware of that. I'll be staying up in Hemlock. I've offered my assistance to Dustin if he ever needs to know what little I do know, I can share with him, and it shouldn't take too long. So he's lucky there, but I think everything's good. We've been going over chaining up and just trying to watch the weather and that kind of stuff, and hopefully we don't get too much snow. So that's my chief's report for the evening.
Thank you. Did you bring the documents?
No.
All right. So we're going to skip the first.
They can still
approve
that.
We can sign them later.
Yes.
All right. So the first item on your agenda is the deed and bill of sale transferring the Mill A volunteer property and apparatus to the district, and that includes a quick claim deed. Mill A volunteers to Fire District 1 for the structure, and then a bill of sale for the 1995 Ford, a bill of sale for the 1983 International Tanker, and a bill of sale for the fire response and support equipment, so the radios, pagers, sirens, and turnouts. So if I could get a motion to approve those, and then we will sign them at a later date.
Question.
Yes.
Quick claim deed, that implies that we own the building?
That's
The
correct.
building
Correct.
itself.
The building itself?
Not the land.
But it's still
Not the
in a
land.
lease property or
Yes.
agreement, okay.
Just for clarification, if I can, might throw in a little bit, is I went to the meeting with Mill A School Board, and they were having their legal review the lease document that we presented them, and I haven't heard back from them yet. I meant to give them a call and I forgot to.
Okay.
But I'm sure Bob will be in touch with this as soon as he hears something back. He's very.
And then the next three bill of sales, so those vehicles have sold?
It's a bill of sale. That's the document that the Mill A volunteers created to transfer ownership of them to Fire District 1.
Oh, gotcha. So they
Yeah.
haven't, I know they went up for bid, right?
Bob, do you want to elaborate on that?
The 1983 tanker is an old international tanker that sits out behind their building, and it's got a hole in the air tank, which Davey Cannon and I had him look at it. I've reported on this before, but he said he could probably get it going for $2,000, and we could use that to shuttle water with, which would be very handy up there since there are no hydrant systems or water supply, limited water supply at best. And the Ford is a retired Forest Service brush rig, which would be an asset to have up there along with an engine, a tender, and a brush rig. And then there's some miscellaneous supply. There's some old SCBA's that are outdated. They're not compliant anymore. I don't even think we can use them, even though they're all still brand new. Never been out of the box, some of them. 12 or 13 new pagers and things like that. They just transferred that over.
Okay. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Commissioner Blaisdell has made a motion to approve the deed and bills of sale.
I'll second.
All right, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Board direction for business meeting procedures. I'm gonna defer to Ann on this one.
This is, agenda item is really just for the board to give direction on how you want to facilitate working through your meetings beginning in January. So typically, I'll be leaving the district as well at the end of the year and only providing guidance to my staff as far as like how things operate and how they do certain things for the fire district if they're not sure how to do that. Historically, in my service with the fire district, the way that the board's agenda was created was based off of the chief's report and other items that were generally occurring. So for example, resolutions to establish your meeting dates. We knew that that always had to be done in January. And so with my departure, the board needs to decide on a couple of things. A, how are you going to be building the agenda? Typically, in many elected boards, the chairman creates the agenda and the chairman facilitates the meeting. So I think in order for Lorene to be living her best life and doing her best work for the fire district, it would behoove the board to give some direction as to A, how those processes are going to work starting in January. And the second part would be as far as the meetings going, you'll notice that we're meeting out here tonight, and it certainly with the COVID situation as it currently is and the guidance that's issued by many agencies, this allows for more attendance by the public. So if the board could just give, I suggested that we put this on the agenda so the board can give that direction and she'll know how to proceed in January.
So creating the meeting agenda, is that, can she do that?
She can do that based on the chief's report and then other items, if that is the direction from the board, yes.
I would think so.
Yes. I'm for it.
And we can always contact you ahead of time for items that we feel need to be done.
You set the agenda, so.
Right, okay.
And then as far as facilitating the meeting, Larry, I think the other question is do you want that to proceed in the same manner? Does the board, would they like that to proceed in the same manner where the secretary kind of ticks off the agenda items, or would you, as I believe that they've appointed Larry as chair? Did we do that yet?
Yes.
Okay.
Last meeting.
That it's your meeting, and so would you like to facilitate traveling through the agenda?
No, I like the way we do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do too.
Yeah. That's okay with you.
I'll do my best.
What do you
It's a little
want?
tricky to talk and write
And write at the same
things
time.
at the same time, but
Yeah.
I'll do what I can.
We will be patient.
And then I think just the final question is, we are allowed now to have open public meetings for some time. We did facilitate our public hearing for the budget via Zoom. The question is whether or not the board wishes to continue that, or if they would like to just encourage the public to come and invite the public to attend in person since it is allowed. Technology can be a bit of a challenge. The fire district does not have the capability to, we don't have a microphone system or a conference phone system, which can be quite costly. So if the board would like to continue the virtual meetings, I would suggest that you consider purchasing those devices, or you can choose, since public meetings are allowed, to revert to that and just encourage the public to attend.
I personally would opt for that one, being technically challenged.
So in public,
Yes,
okay.
open public meetings. I'd rather see people too and not hear them on the phone or,
True.
It's nice to see your neighbors.
yeah. What we can see of them.
Yes.
Is that everything on that one?
I think that answers everything. That way you have an idea of how to move forward.
Right. Okay, so then the next item on your agenda is Resolution 2021-18, which is establishing the date, time, and location of general business meetings for the Board of Commissioners for the period of January 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2023. And this is amending Resolution 2021-17, which we just passed last month, because we failed to recognize Juneteenth, which is now a federal holiday. Happens on June 20th, I believe, and June 20th falls on a Monday this year. So that will be another meeting where we can't hold a public meeting on a federal holiday, so we will have to have that on Tuesday at 6 p.m. And so the resolution effectively just adds Juneteenth, recognizes Juneteenth, and adds that as a meeting date that would be moved to Tuesday at 6.
Need a motion for that?
I do.
I'll do a motion.
I don't suppose we have the authority to nullify a federal holiday, do we? I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
And motion carries. The next item on our agenda is to acknowledge receipt of letters from interested parties regarding the commissioner position vacancy effective 12/31/2021. There are 3 letters from interested parties in your packets. I will give you the page numbers. You're looking at page 61, 63, and 65. And at such time that you would like to discuss them, we will need to recess into executive session to discuss them. Would the comment from the interested parties also be part of executive session, or is that an open public meeting?
I believe the RCW states that if you're going to interview, that it is required to be done in public
Okay.
meeting.
So we do have one of those interested parties present this evening. If you wanted to receive comment from them or ask them any questions, you can do that before or after the executive session to talk about qualifications.
So the question is when then to discuss them?
If you wanted to do that right now, we could go into executive session right now.
You wanna do it now? You wanna?
Sure.
Okay.
So to go into executive session, you'll have to state, specifically, I just need to look up the section of the RCW for you. So the commissioners are requesting to go into executive session per RCW 423110, bullet point,
1H,
sorry?
1H.
1H, which states to evaluate the qualifications of a candidate for appointment to elective office. It goes on to state, however, any interview of such candidate and final action appointing a candidate to elective office shall be in a meeting open to the public. And then commissioners, about how long do you anticipate that you'll be in executive session?
15 minutes?
All right, so during it would anticipate that they would come out at 7:37 p.m.
Okay.
And then commissioners, for you to facilitate that executive session, if you could just step into the meeting room to discuss it, and then that would prevent your audience from having to leave the building.
So let me just make sure I understand. We can talk about them and discuss them, but we cannot make a decision until after January 1.
That is correct.
Okay.
So, we're ready to resume?
Yes,
Okay.
but we
So,
have some questions on,
Yeah.
yeah.
questions for them?
No, well, that is the question. Can we talk to them individually, or does it have to be an open meeting to talk to them?
It has to be open to everybody.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, can I clarify? Are you asking if you, as an independent commissioner, can seek out the people who have put in a letter of interest and personally, between you and them, ask them questions?
Yes. I understand if Gary and I both went and talked to them, that's
That's not
a
open.
meeting that's gotta be open public and announced and all, but as an individual.
No, that's fine. I thought you meant for the purposes here.
No.
If you want to interview here, yes, it's gotta be
Right.
open to the public.
We could have a meeting, right? We could talk to them,
Yes,
special meeting,
you can call a special meeting, for the purposes of interviewing
right?
the candidates. And then that is still open to the public, because if you're interviewing them.
Sure.
Or discussing with them, then it has to be open to the public.
Okay. So yes, we all need to continue.
Perfect. I did note that we returned at 7:29 PM for the record. So do we need to actually acknowledge who we received the letters from on the record?
I think it would be probably beneficial.
Okay. So for the record, we received letters from Nathan Dales, Todd Kingston, and Tony Monahan. So then, if we're moving on to the next item, the last item on the agenda, where it says acknowledge letter from Chairman Thayer requesting the board's consideration to reverse the vaccine mandate.
That's the last page, Gary.
It's the last page of your packet. So this was presented to the board secretary and asked to be placed on the agenda by Chairman Thayer. I believe that at this point, the board may elect to go into executive session to discuss with legal counsel. And if you're going to do that, I need to know how long you're going to go into executive session. Oh, and I'm sorry, the executive session would be per RCW 42-30110I. And that is to discuss with legal counsel representing the agency matters relating to agency enforcement actions.
Do you have any idea, Chris, what it might take?
I'm not charging you by the word, so it should be short.
Okay. So, 10 minutes?
That should be fine.
So it's currently 7:33, so we'll expect to return by 7:43.
Okay.
Thank you.
Back into the dungeon.
Goodness, man.
So we're back on the record at 7:42 PM.
Okay.
Okay.
And we are discussing my letter.
Yep.
So I am going to recommend that we rescind our decision to follow those mandates. Do I have to step down and make that motion?
I believe so.
Okay, I step down, I still make that motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. For housekeeping purposes, I think that we need to also have a motion to acknowledge the receipt of those letters from the interested parties, just as a housekeeping move.
Can I make a motion?
Thank you, Gary.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
So, question, can there be other letters accepted, or are these three it, or is it?
That's really at the discretion of the board. At the November meeting, you elected to seek interest from members of the fire district, and there was no advertisement made at the direction of the board. So it's really at your discretion how you proceed, how you wish to proceed.
Okay.
So is that what you want to do?
I was just asking.
Oh, okay,
So,
gotcha, okay.
I'm not seeking other letters, I just wondered if somebody else put in a letter, would it be accepted?
We would provide that to the board.
Okay.
That was the last item on your agenda, so the meeting is going to go to the order.
None here.
Commissioners, you do have members of the public present. Would you like to ask for public comment?
Sure. Any comments, anybody? Guess not.
All right,
Okay.
so good of the order from the commissioners?
Not for me.
Chief?
Oh, yeah. It's been a pleasure serving the community for a long time, and it's also, I'd like to thank Ann Luters and Lorene for doing a fine job in the administrative parts of this district. Ann has been doing it for how long? 20-some years?
21 years.
And as our secretary, has done a heck of a job for the board and myself, helping me figure out phones and computers and things like that I have no knowledge whatsoever on. And I'd just like to make it known that they will be missed.
Thank you very
And
much.
Lorene, thank you. You're doing a good job. Keep up the good work. And I know you can talk and write at the same time.
I'll get better at it with practice. Thanks.
You're a fox. I know you can.
She'll do awesome.
I think commissioners, Bob, thank you very much. I always, I would just like to say that Bob has served this fire district for over 30 years. And he was gonna retire last year, but then he was like, just kidding.
Yeah, he's having fun getting come back.
Wasn't
And,
like we didn't have something come up that needed his expert.
you know, though, I was always really, really grateful to work with Bob because he never made me feel stupid. I learned about the government and how things work from his job at the fire district. And Bob still is trying to teach me military time, which I never will understand. And
Now you don't have to.
I think that it's important to recognize that because I know that when we shared his impending retirement last year, there was a lot of well wishes. He's touched a lot of lives, and I think that it's important to acknowledge that. And Dustin, you just keep your fingers crossed that when he says you can phone a friend, he really means it.
And I'll actually answer.
And he'll answer.
Well, I'm not real good with that because I kind of forget it, take it with me when I'm plowing and doing stuff.
In any case, Bob, it's been a pleasure to work with you. You're a hell of a guy. And I drink whiskey with you any day.
Yeah.
Have there been
I'm ready.
many people with the department that long?
I don't know of, at this juncture, I think the only other person who has been with the fire district in some capacity as long as Bob would be Bob Callahan, if I'm not mistaken.
He joined like 6 months to a year after I did.
And then,
So
and
he and
then,
Bob and I have been in it together for a long time.
and then followed by Gary.
Yeah.
I think those are the three old guys said with the utmost respect possible in our district.
Back quick.
Yeah, long time.
Deserving of recognition, for sure.
Also, you get to run the deer out of the way on the way home tonight.
No problem.
Mr. Chairman, would you like to adjourn your meeting?
We will adjourn the meeting.
At 1948 hours?
Oh, really?
Add 12.
Did you
That's
really?
all there is. Just add 12.
Is there a date to time?
You know what? My mind just